may be occasional debate, but in real life, you may have that opportunity. So that's where I talk about, This is the other thing that really bothers me in debate, is where people, they walk into the debate round and they become someone else. I don't know if you guys have seen anybody like that. Maybe they walk into a debate round and all of a sudden, the person who normally acts a certain way walks into the round, like maybe in the hallway, they're like, no, I'm not going to give you that brief. And they walk into the round and they're like, I'm so glad we could be here today. You guys are a great other team. Congrats on making it this far, And then you're just like, I just want to. So you be true to yourself. Now that means you're nice to them out of the round and in the round. All right? So you need to make sure that you are treating your opponents with respect, but also that you aren't trying to be too nice or too pandering that you come across badly. All right. All right, I'm glad you guys like that. All right, so we're going to take like 2 minutes for questions while Ty gets the next one up. And then we'll talk about nonverbals. So who has any questions or stories or comments on verbal stuff? Like what verbal things do y'all struggle with? Or anybody? What comments do you get on ballots? Okay, I used to have ballots that says, whoa, tone it down. That's what I used to get. What do you guys get on verbal comments? Over here. Yeah.
I am of my normal partnership. I am definitely the more passionate one. My partner is very laid back, very logical, smiles, get away with everything. I have gotten so many ballots that said, "Smile at the table. You look like you're gonna kill someone. You're intense."
Okay, so she says she got comments on her nonverbals, that at the table she was too intense. She wasn't smiling. She looked like she was going to kill someone. And actually, I think when I debated in high school, I had a partner and she was that southern, sweet talking, she was the smiley one, and so I had to take on more of the tough kind of demeanor in the round. And so I would get those same comments. And apparently I used to do this thing where my heel of my shoe, I'd be in cross-section, I'd be like doing this with my foot, and the judges said to me, it looks like you're trying to smash them into the ground. They're like, just be nice. I'm sorry. But I didn't even know I was doing that. So nonverbals are really important. What about verbal stuff? Yeah.
Judges would always tell me that I have no emotion during the rounds, yet somehow they believe everything that I say.
Okay, he says judges would tell him that he had no emotion during the round, and he says despite that, they believed everything that he said. And that's where I go back to be yourself, If in real life you're not real jazzy or whatever, and you're not real over the top, then that's who you are in debate too. You don't all of a sudden become someone else. It doesn't mean that you can't stretch your personal communication style in other ways and try to become more well-rounded, but you got to be true to yourself as well. Yeah.
I get 2 comments pretty regularly. One,
okay.
Stop dancing during prep time.
Okay.
And then 2, ask questions that are very clash and CS. This is what I do normally. Is I usually just lead my opponent down a trail and they say yes to every question. They get all suspicious. The judge doesn't know what's happening.
Okay, so he gets he gets comments on his cross-sex questions, choices of that, and then comments on, what did you say the first thing? The don't dance. Yeah, that's another nonverbal thing. We'll talk about that in a second. Yeah. Okay.
I like to have prepared rebuttals for what I think is the most likely thing for the team to say. So a lot of times when I come into a round, I have absolutely no use for prep time whatsoever. And so I've had judges a few times say use your prep time. And so I think that's probably one of the things that I've seen repeated a lot as far as nonverbal.
Okay.
Or
Okay, so he said that oftentimes he'll be so prepared and familiar with the material that he doesn't feel the need to use prep time, and he was continually getting that comment, use your prep time, use your prep time. And definitely, I would be right there with those judges saying you need to use that prep time. Unless you get up there and you are Martin Luther King Jr. and you blow our socks off, then I would say you got to be thinking of a figure of speech or thinking of something to take that speech to the next level. Even though you may know that content really well, make that a memorable speech for the judge, because poor judge, they're sitting there all day, a captive audience. Make it memorable and hone those skills. Yeah.
My sister was banging around in Chloe, and the resolution was that, the situation resolution was that a third of the world dies from the plague. And the government had to say that we're going to let these criminals off the life sentence, off the death sentence, if we gave them, tested a serum on them. And so in the round,
Oh my goodness.
There was a bunch of people in the room, so she went 1, 2, 3, dead. 1, 2, 3,
Yeah, that's how
dead.
I was the PM, and so that's how I closed my last speech. And the judge, I killed off my dad and my debate partner. I didn't realize I was going to do that because I just kind of started randomly.
Yeah. Oh no.
So, like, I was up there and I almost started crying, like thinking about what if my dad actually died.
Oh my goodness.
I was like, you won the round because you killed everybody.
Oh no. Oh no. So she's saying she went 1, 2, 3 dead, 1, 2, 3 dead to demonstrate how deadly a disease was. Yeah, use that with caution. Why don't you just say a third of the people in this room would be dead, something like that, to avoid getting yourself in that position of killing off your debate partner and your dad. All right, yeah, over here.
I have trouble on prospects, and I'd like advice on it. For me, I can be very, if I know what I'm talking about, I've got a lot of cards that come too sharp / mean / intense in the process.
Okay.
But then that was the beginning of the year. Then I would later get comments about how it's too sticky sweet while being in the process.
Okay, good.
How do you get
The happy medium. Yeah, the happy medium is you just have to think about, don't go over the top in either direction. Obviously, don't be mean, but don't be so polite that it's not real. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you wouldn't really be that polite in real life, I'm so glad everyone's here. Thank you, judges, for being here. Thank you, other teams. Sometimes in Parley, especially, it gets really out of hand. I'm just like, you're just trying to give your partner extra prep time, thanking everybody in the room, But just make sure that you try to stay not too clear on either extreme. And just keep experimenting until your comments don't say either one, Yeah.
How do you recover if you accidentally make somebody cry in process?
Oh my. And it's funny that you would say that, because unfortunately, when I was a debate camper at Patrick Henry Debate Camp, in the final round, I made this poor girl cry who had never debated before. She made it to finals because her partner was experienced or whatever. I made her cry in cross-ex in front of the whole camp. Do you think I won?
Yes.
No, because making someone cry, is that likable or not? No, that's bad. So first of all, try to avoid it by being really polite and nice. And when we coach cross-ex, we say, don't go for the jugular. Lead them down the road and let the judge make that final connection. Don't say, so basically what you're saying is you're wrong, right? Nobody's going to say that. They're going to just cry, okay? So you got to just leave it hanging there, ask them the line of questions, and then don't ask them that final question, because no one's going to admit that they're wrong. Yeah. Okay.
It's not as bad as much anymore, but at the beginning of last year especially, I would get thinking so far that I would forget to breathe. Like literally. It's not that I wouldn't pause.
Yeah.
Video, I would just keep talking, and be like, and I would
Right.
pauses, but during those pauses I would just not breathe or something.
Yeah.
And so my mom watched me debate one time, and watched me debate while at these really awkward places, you just take these gigantic breaths. You're not talking fast, you're not speeding along.
Yep.
Really obnoxious.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, that is totally not true. And sure enough, the very next tournament, 3 judges you take these obnoxious breaths.
Oh no! Yeah, and it's not just you. I was talking about the young lady that we coached, and I had to have the bell, and remind her to end her sentences. That's what I would just encourage you and anyone who struggles with not pausing at the correct places in your speech, and you find yourself just so anxious to get to the next sentence that you don't stop until you're in the middle of the next sentence, and then you have to stop and take a breath, and that's really awkward. What I would recommend to you is just think the grammar in your head. I don't know if you guys can do that, but just kind of when you're formulating a sentence, remember, okay, here's a clause, here's a comma, I'm going to pause there, and that's why we need to vote for this plan, period, and then end the sentence. So just the more you can think that way, the easier it'll be. And then the other thing I would say is make sure that you have someone videotape you debating so that you can see what that looks like. And then when you're working on it, make sure you have somebody doing a stop-start kind of around, and get your mom or your dad to make you stop and change it right then and there. And that's the easiest way to break one of those habits. All right, we'll take one more, and then we need to get to the next thing. Yeah.
About the breathing thing, I can't really afford not breathing because by the time I realize I need to breathe, I've already started fainting.
Yeah, we don't want to faint. Please don't faint.
The first time I put my contacts in, I fainted completely.
Oh my.
Got to breathe.
Oh my. Well, when we were doing camp 2 years ago, we had somebody faint during a lecture, and that has never happened before. We had a student faint, and that was kind of traumatic for everyone. She was fine, but anyway, please don't faint while you're speaking. All right, so now we're going to talk about nonverbals. It's a good thing that a lot of you say you've had comments about how you look at the table or your personality coming across in cross-sex. That's all nonverbal. Remember how I said that scientifically more comes through what you're not saying when we talk about communication. So nonverbals are super important. All right, let's go to the next. Okay. Always cite your sources. So when I talk about nonverbals, I'm relying heavily on an article in the Kansas Law Review by Michael J. Higdon, and he took all the available evidence on nonverbals in the courtroom scenario, and he figured out what are the themes that we see in a courtroom scenario where there's a judge, possibly a jury, and an opposing lawyer arguing. What are the themes that we see carry across with the lawyers that are the most successful? And so that's where I got a lot of this content. If I say studies have shown, I'm relying on Mr. Higdon's article there. All right, 5 habits of highly persuasive speakers, nonverbal habits. Number 1, you can probably guess, smile. Studies have actually shown that if you smile when you ask somebody a question, you are way more likely to get the response that you want. So when you're trying to get people to sign a petition, if you walk up and you're like, would you like to sign my petition on changing this law? Nobody's going to want to sign it. But if you say, hey, would you like to sign my petition on changing this law? And you smile when you're presenting that, it makes you more likable. It makes you more persuasive. It makes you more likely to get what you want. So sometimes Isaiah lets me order for him at Starbucks. Why? Because Isaiah's often in a hurry. He goes in there, and they don't give him his drink. They mess it up. They forget about him. And I'm like, honey, what you got to do is just be nice to them, and then they give you what you want. And, you know, if you bring one of the kids along, you get a free drink, too. You know, and he's like, what is this? But if you smile, you're more likely to get what you want. So definitely use that.